Welcome to the How to Plan Your Planting Timeline for Your Garden video by Seeds Regenerations. You can see us on the web at seedsregenerations.com. So there's several steps to planning your garden planting timeline. First step is to determine your last spring frost date. This is the date that everything else will be keyed off of based upon frost tolerance of various plants. Next, you want to find the weeks before or after your last frost date to plant each type of seed. These are usually listed on your seed packets or from the manufacturer's website. Next, you're going to calculate your indoor planting dates. Some crops need an early start, so you'll plant them inside in trays or other containers, and those will be the first ones that you'll plant. Next, you're going to plant those seeds that need an early start indoors in trays, making sure they have sufficient light and warmth. Next, you're going to calculate your transplanting dates for those that you planted indoors, or the planting dates for those that you're going to directly sow into your garden. And the next step is you're going to transplant those seedlings out into your garden, or direct sow seeds into the ground for those varieties that can be or should be sown directly into the ground. So there's a lot of calculation that needs to be done. You need to assemble a lot of data and put a lot of information together to get all this information together in a usable format. You can do it the hard way and do it all manually. Or you can use the garden planning calculator that we've built to assist you in making this a whole lot easier. So here's the garden planning calculator. The first step is going to be at the top. Click on the link there to find your last spring frost date. When you do that, it'll take you to the NOAA website for those in the U.S. It has data for all across the United States. If you live in a different country or somewhere else, you can go and research to find the applicable source for the good data on that. Now, the way this works is you have to scroll in this list by state, and then once you click on your state, a PDF file will come up. And so we're going to use Alaska as the example here. This table is laid out with the location on the left column. This first section here that says spring is got three subcolumns: 90% probability of frost, a 50% probability of frost, which is an average, and a 10% probability of frost, which means it's unlikely. And in the column to the left of that, you'll see there's temperature thresholds in Fahrenheit. 36 degrees, some plants may have difficulty at that range or that temperature. 32 degrees, freezing point of water, this is where frost usually starts. And then 28 degrees is considered a hard frost. So I recommend that you use the date or the 32 degrees and 50% probability, which is kind of an average. That makes it kind of the midpoint. And May 8th here is the right date for this example for Anchorage, Alaska. So once we have that date, we're going to go over to the garden planning calculator, and step 2 is to enter your last spring frost date in the orange box. So you replace the date that's there with your date, 8 May. Click enter, and you'll notice a bunch of the information on the right side of the calculator changed. That's actually the calculator portion. It's calculating all of the dates that you're going to need for you. The way this is laid out is the crop is in the left column. The hyperlinked blue crop varieties are links to our website where you can find the assortment of seeds we have for that variety or that type of plant or vegetable or herb. The next column is planting type, and if you hover over it, you'll see there's a little comment there that gives you some information. DS means direct seed or direct sow. TP is for transplant, for ones that you're going to start indoors and then transplant into your garden later. The next section, where it says germination, has days to germination. This is usually a range of days. So earliest and latest you should expect germination. Also the temperature, which is a range. Be aware that some crops like basil and peppers have a pretty high germination temperature. For optimal germination, about 80 degrees. So make sure you give them sufficient warmth to ensure optimal germination. Step 3 is to use the planting dates and the days left of planting in the right side of the calculator for reference. So the no frost protection section, most people don't use frost protection. These are the dates that most people are going to use. Starting indoors is for plants that you're going to start indoors and transplant later. This is the indoor start date based upon the right timing factor that they need to grow indoors before you transplant them. So you can see here for basil is 27 March. There are some that are listed as direct sow that have indoor planting dates, and that is because, as you can see here, things like cilantro and chard, some people will start inside then transplant outside. So if it's blank, it means that it should be planted outside, not planted inside then transplanted. The plant and ground dates are either the transplant date for those started indoors or the direct sow date for those that are started outdoors in the garden, things like beans. The days left to planting inside and outside, this gives you a heads up of how many days you have left to planting that particular crop. If it is 0 or negative, that means that you can plant it now. So this is actually filterable. You can click on the drop down and go to a number filter, filter for less than or equal to 0. And when you hit enter, it'll filter out everything and show you just the stuff that you can plant now, which is pretty handy. So you can see right now in this example, cabbage leeks and onions are the things we can plant now inside. So I'm going to clear that filter. Alright, so with frost protection, if you're using frost protection, things like row covers, mini hoops, greenhouse, or cold frame, 14 days is kind of a conservative average. You could use more. This is because it's in orange here, it shows you it's changeable. You can change it to say 3 weeks, 21 days. I wouldn't go much over that unless you've done careful calculations about your degrees of frost protection and what temperatures you can expect, so you don't accidentally give frost shock to your plants. Make sure you're protecting your plants by not planting them too early. So start indoors and plant in ground dates are basically the same as the other section, except it adjusts for that time factor of 14 days in this example. Days left to plant inside and outside are the same. You can also filter. So to show you this example, if I filter by number less than or equal to 0, you can see there's additional varieties I can plant inside now if I'm using frost protection once I put them in the ground later. Clear that filter. And then finally over on the right here, there is some harvest information, days to maturity for various crops. These are kind of averages, so they may vary a little bit based upon the specific variety of the type of crop you're growing. And the earliest harvest date here is based upon planting on the earliest date. Okay, so that's not necessarily based upon planted them. So okay, so this is the garden planning calculator in a nutshell. Hope this is a helpful tool to you. You can click on any of the links on the left and the varieties, or the link at the top here to go to our website and see the selection of heirloom seeds we have for purchase. Okay, so you can download this by the link below the video, and if you click on that link, it'll take you here to the garden planning calculator page, gives you some information and a preview. You put in your email, which is required, and your first name. If you want us to know what to call you, click get the calculator and you'll get a link. You can download it right away and start using it. If you share it, share this page on social media, you'll get a 15% off coupon off your order of heirloom seeds, and below that you can see there's some example varieties, and you can also click through to our store to see the selection of heirloom seeds we have for your garden. Navigation is pretty easy. You can basically hover over seeds. You get various types you can search by, as well as other types of categories you can search by. You can also just use the search box, and that's about it. So download the garden planning calculator now if you haven't already done so. The link is below the video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us for other great gardening tips and techniques videos. You can see us on the web at seedsearchgenerations.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.